Can you turn his music down?
Speaking dumb about that at the moment.
Thank you. He's only here to drown us out.
You can bet your bottom dollar if I turned up at a trans activist rally with a loud sound system, I would be moved on.
You can play your music as loud as you want. You will never, ever shut us up.
And that's all they've got. Loud music, no substance, no facts. The law is on our side and they need to get with the programme.
These women do not represent women. They do not represent Scotland. They do not represent Edinburgh. They do not represent fairness or equality.
Okay. So, no.
You can define homosexual how you like. You can say whether or not you think a lesbian has a penis.
We don't believe that pretending men can be lesbians really counts as progress. And this
50 years ago, we thought the war was won, and here we still are today.
We really, really want the Scottish Government to just obey the law.
Women want plates! Women want plates! Women want plates! Women want plates! Women want
plates! Good morning. Certainly is a very beautiful morning here in Edinburgh. Just on my way to the Scottish Parliament, and what a view! Look at that, gorgeous. It sure feels like simply protecting sex-based rights is an uphill struggle and climbing a mountain, but we're getting there. Supreme Court ruling, I guess, is one of the base camps. Now on to the next one. Oh look, it's a lady horse. But what is a lady horse? How are they different from a gentleman horse?
Morning, this is McNeill reporting from outside the Scottish Parliament, Holyrood, where For Women Scotland are just setting up for their protest. They've organised this protest because back in April, 16th of April, they secured a huge landmark victory where basically the Supreme Court said that in the Equality Act 2010, men, woman and sex all refers to biological sex. Now that was April, so that's like over half a year ago, and For Women Scotland are wondering why is the Scottish Parliament dragging its heels basically, or the Scottish Government dragging its heels over implementing this, because apparently there's still, for example, men in women's prisons here in Scotland. So they've organised this protest. They're just setting up. There's a small crowd gathering at the moment. We've also got some people protesting them. So, and in the distance I can see Palestine flags. So I'm going to go over and have a chat with them and see why they're here and why they don't think that sex should be acknowledged in law, or why the Supreme Court ruling should be, I don't know, discarded. Let's have a look. Okay, so here we have a beautiful banner, Women Won't Wait. So first it was Women Won't Wish, now it's Women Won't Wait, because obviously they're fed up waiting for the Scottish Government. Here we have Jenny, who is part of Scottish Lesbians, and they were one of the lesbian interveners that helped secure this very, very, very important ruling, especially for the gays and the lesbians. So, what's going on today?
We're here to ask the Scottish Government to get a move on with implementing the Supreme Court ruling. It's not a difficult ruling, it's not complicated, but the Scottish Government are really dragging the feet, and some of the guidance that is still in place for prisons and schools particularly still works on the basis of self-ID. So we're asking them to just get that sorted. They can do it tomorrow.
What's the hold-up?
You would have to ask John Swinney that. We can speculate, I'm sure, but yeah, I wouldn't like to say exactly what the hold-up is, although there is an election coming up next year, just a Scottish Parliament election.
Right. So then surely it would help for him to get a move on with this?
I don't know. He clearly thinks not. So, here we are. For Women Scotland are having to do yet more legal action. We're all gathering outside Parliament yet again, and it's all a complete waste of everybody's time because they could just fix it today.
And what about the opposition parties in the Scottish Parliament? Are they kicking up a fuss about this, or are they kind of clueless as well?
The Conservatives are kicking up a fuss about it. They are the only party, and Alba, Ash Regan and Alba are kicking up a fuss about it. Nobody else, you know. In fact, the Greens think it's a terrible ruling and would quite like to see it reversed. So, yeah, it's really coming down to Alba and the Conservatives to argue in favour of just getting on with it.
One thing I've noticed is, having gone to quite a couple of prides this year in London, Brighton, Manchester, when you talk to people about it, they have very strong feelings about the ruling, but they have no idea what it's about. Do you think it's a similar thing with politicians?
Well, they're listening to the organisations that they fund up here. So they're listening to the Equality Network, to Scottish Trans, to Leap Scotland, the sports body. They're funding those groups, and they're listening to those groups, and all of those groups are working against the ruling because they believe that men can be women. So, yeah, I would like to think that they actually do understand it, but they don't like it. That's the problem.
Right, okay, I'm going to interview some of the people over there because they're all talking about, they've got a big sign about genocide, and I'm like, this is about women's rights and sex-based rights, so...
There's another protest on today called Mothers Against Genocide.
Oh, so that might be a completely different thing.
It's a Palestine thing.
All right. Okay, well, there's a trans flag here. I'll just see if this man wants to talk. Thank you. No, I don't.
Oh, the one sitting down is Tom Harlow.
Who's that?
Cabaret of Hate.
Oh, Cabaret of Hate. Great, I'll go up to him now.
Tom is a bloke who really doesn't like women talking about their rights. He runs Cabaret Against the Hate Speech, because, you know, saying that a woman is an adult human female is hate speech in Tom's world. And he basically just goes around trying to disrupt women's events by playing loud music and shouting abuse at them. He's been doing this for at least 2 years now at Let Women Speak in Glasgow, the screening of the movie Adult Human Female in Edinburgh, at the Philia Conference, also in Edinburgh, at Let Women Speak in Edinburgh, April 2024, and last month at Let Women Speak Glasgow.
We're going to drown these people out so bad that they're going to cry in their sleep.
And now he's here to piss off the TERFs. What a hero.
Morning, Tom. Do you mind if I have a little word with you? It might go and rain this afternoon, but not quite yet. Can you tell me why you're here this morning? Okay. So I don't think Tom wants to talk, but he's here with a sound system and a big trans flag on it. And he's just got this umbrella here in my face. Hey guys, does anybody want to film this guy with his umbrella in my face? And then I can splice it into my own footage. If you get him from the side, would be fantastic. Okay. I mean, this guy comes out to women's rights meetings, brings out his misogyny on full display with his loudspeaker, but now I'm asking him a question and he's hiding. Last time I think I saw him, he called out my name. He called me Mr. Memno or something. There he is. So, his idea is to drown people out, right?
Listen up. You're not mad.
There he is.
You're not mad at all.
And this woman here is Susan, who helped secure the Supreme Court ruling.
I wondered how they feel, because apparently they're reading the names of dead children out.
Yeah.
And this git has decided, basically, to talk over whatever solemn thing they're trying to do.
Right.
The 69,958 rapes that were reported between October 2023 and September 24 in the UK do slightly concern me though. 91% of people prosecuted for sexual offences are cis men aged 18 plus. The biggest threat is cis women.
So we could just have a chat.
Cis men, the stats have been raped by
We could simply have a chat.
You're not radical. Excuse your aggressive misogynist. Yeah, you're not
the police.
Not during boxing matches or from trans people needing a piss, but from acts of violence that is carried out against them every week.
Can you turn his music down?
Speaking to them about that at the moment.
Thank you, thank you. Because he's only here to drown us out.
The consequences of FGM, forced marriage and honour-based abuse. Catherine Brolly
I'm gonna ask him to turn the music down.
Trans people make up roughly...
Now, YouTube will pick up on this music, and that means that any ad revenue from this video will go to the copyright owner of the music, not to me. Even though I'm the one traveling up to Edinburgh, filming this and spending a few days editing it all together to share it with you all. So if you'd like to help me with my travel costs and a sandwich and the time I spend on this, you can do so monthly via Patreon, or send me a one-off tip via PayPal, or on here via Super Thanks. Every little helps, and it's much appreciated. Okay, let's continue.
Population and are twice as likely to be victims of crime than cis people.
Sure, yeah.
According to
Right.
this country has seen an increase in hate crime towards
And good morning.
people. Cis women are supposed to focus on the threat we have yet to see manifest from a small minority of the country who are struggling to stay safe themselves.
Right, police have asked me to step back, so I will.
He's parked in a disabled space across there with no badge.
This is a disabled space?
Yeah, he's parked right across the road in front of my friend. Disabled parking and he's got no badge.
Okay.
That's ridiculous.
Right, that's the music gone.
Yeah, for now. For Women Scotland had actually raised concerns about Tom showing up with his amplifier at least a week before the rally. Lucy Hunter Blackburn, one of the speakers, also put in a formal request that morning to the police to protect her rights as a speaker and to protect her speech from being drowned out by amplified sound from one man. So the police knew what to expect.
Good morning. What a beautiful flag you have. What does it say on the other one? For Women Scotland. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Also, is Tom on his own? That's interesting. Because normally he's got a big old crowd. Right, there's a nice crowd gathering here now. I'm gonna go and get a good shot of that from a distance.
What are you doing?
Right, let's have a look at the signs. Scottish Government obey the law. Stop censoring women. No males. NHS obey the law. And the other side? No males in female jails.
Got this one.
Oh, yeah, if you just hold it like that. Contempt for women, contempt for the law. All very good messages.
Hi.
Hi, good morning. No males in female jails. You've been very outspoken about that. Okay, and here is our gorgeous, beautiful banner.
Mr. Mano.
Hello, good morning, sir. How are you? Right, made by Rinbrook with art direction from, well, on X she's known as Tomboy. Right, I'm gonna get up on one of these things over here and get a nice shot from... Hello!
Hello.
And good morning. Right, let me get up here. Oh, big step. Right, so... Oh, that's a nice crowd. Here we have Labour's Women Declaration. Labour Women's Declaration. I love that big old banner. We know what a woman is. This is where we are in 2025, that we have to keep bringing that message home. There we go. Gorgeous. Okay. Hello.
Could I ask you a question?
Certainly.
Okay, your T-shirt.
Yes.
Did we meet in M&S?
Yes, we did.
You did indeed, as I was trying to buy a milkshake, I think. No, I was wondering, would she be here today? So it's good to see you. And your T-shirt, tell me why you're wearing that one today.
Because I believe that she was in charge of a government that ruined women's rights, and she did it with glee, which I find appalling.
And now she's been on her book tour, and how do you feel about how she's been talking about this issue, like, ever since?
I think...
Sorry, do you think, like, she's learned anything?
Oh, no, I don't think she's learned anything. She's continuing to pretend that it was somebody else's fault, it was not something that she was in control of, that she seems to have left behind the I can't remember and with selective memory, and I don't think she's learned a thing. She will never back down.
Do you think that she kind of realises maybe deep down, but she just can't own up to it?
Oh, no, I don't even think she does. I don't think she does, no.
Well, we're here all together to bring Parliament a very clear message, and the government. So good to see you, and have a great day.
I will. Thank you.
Did you ever think you would have to stand here with a sign with this message?
No, I just assumed that the biggest court in the land, the Supreme Court, that when they passed a judgment, that governments would listen to it and abide by that law. So frankly, I can't believe that our governments are not abiding by the laws that they themselves have created. And I think that sets a really dangerous precedent. And it's only happening because of misogyny. Widespread misogyny is why this is happening. And women have had enough, and we won't wait any longer.
You won't wait and you won't wish. Oh wow, this one's beautiful as well. I love this message. That is gorgeous. Did you make it?
No, we didn't. We're just holding it.
Good job. Hiya. On peut? Bonjour. Ça va? Très bien, merci. Et je suis très heureux d'être ici.
Ah, moi aussi.
Ah, bien.
C'est ma première... Oh non.
Première fois
Que je viens dans une marche en Écosse.
Et une marche très importante.
C'est pas une marche, c'est une démonstration.
Oui, c'est vrai. Okay, I'm running out of French, so I'm going to move on to someone else's interview. Swimming pool, piscine.
Où est la piscine?
Où est la piscine?
Oh, où est la piscine? Okay, you're tricking me now. Right, I'm going to get some footage from the other side. Right. Oh, look, here's another beautiful banner. See, this is one of the things that I love about these events, is the creativity and the beauty and the craft that goes into this. Women won't wish. Wow, is this like a picture from another protest outside Holyrood?
No, I designed it. I took lots of photos from the original protest,
yes.
And then I mashed them all together, and we got it printed up for a Women Scotland backdrop. We're Selkie Stitching.
You're who, sorry?
Selkie Stitching.
Selkie Stitching, right? You're stitching beautifully. This is beautifully made. So this is like a collage of all these different protests. It looks gorgeous with the sun on it now. I can see Maya Forstetter and Helen Joyce there. Oh, this is excellent. Right, and on X, what's your account?
Sorry?
What's your account handle on X?
At Selkie Stitching.
Okay. I'll put it up so people can follow you. Great job, fantastic. Oh, it's kind of filling up now. That's great. And here, a sign. Right, I want to film this sign, but she's on the move. But I'll get her. Morning. Hey, Trouble. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
I love your sign.
And then it's got another sign, Mr. Menno. Look, check the other side.
Down with this sort of thing.
Yes.
Absolutely.
With the little Irish flags and shamrocks made by my granddaughters.
Oh, lovely. How old are they?
8 and 10.
Nice multi-generational effort.
Leonard always stood up for for women, for gays, for reality. So go on yourself, Graham.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to court tomorrow to lend my support there.
Oh, good stuff.
And there's so much going on at the moment. It's like it's never ending. But yeah.
He was here 4 years ago as well. You might remember that. He was.
I do. We took a picture together. Yeah, it was 4 years ago. It was September 2021 that we were here protesting against self-ID. And look where we are today.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Lovely to see you again.
And you, have a great day. Oh, here we go. Right, another big one. Women won't wish. And don't we know it? Right. That's a big one. Women won't wish. And look at the way it's blown in the wind. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. Women won't wish. Not till the end. Right. This is going to be a good day, isn't it?
Yeah, fabulous day. Really looking forward to it.
How did you feel when the Supreme Court ruling was handed down?
Relieved at first and then really annoyed when the Scottish Government started dragging their feet and making silly excuses, really. So, yeah.
Right, well, hopefully this will wake them up a bit.
Hopefully.
Right. Another beautiful sign. Women won't get over it, yeah. Excellent. Okay. I'm going to go up here. Now, good morning. Now, see, this doesn't feel like an... Oh, hello, gorgeous. Would you like to say something to the camera?
You said hello. You said women won't wish.
Excellent. Oh, no, you can't eat that. You can't eat that. Oh, you're gorgeous. Good boy. How do you know it's a boy?
Well, sorry, this is my daughter that bought all these mixed multicoloured things, but he is a boy. He's definitely a boy. Aren't you? You're definitely a boy.
Definitely a boy. Gorgeous boy. Right, I'm going to get up here and get a nice view. Oops, sorry. Oh, nice. Oh, it looks beautiful from up here. And you know, there's no aggression here. There's no aggression in the air.
Did you manage it then?
Right, so Tom's still here. Don't know what he's looking to get out of it today, but there are some women there not happy with his presence, but the police is just keeping the peace, I think, at this point. Right, I'm gonna go and get some footage from this side. Okay, so I don't think that this here has got
Thank you very much.
anything to do with the counter-pro. Okay, this is Mothers Against Genocide Scotland. Okay, this has nothing to do with us. So I'm just going to leave them to it. Right, so Tom Harlow is still here. He's playing his music. It's not as loud as before, but obviously the police are still allowing him to play it. He's here on his own. It's, I think that's the smallest turnout he's ever had. That's quite surprising, because normally he gets a bit of a crowd, so obviously they couldn't be bothered this time. Although I think there's no point. Or maybe they've just had enough of his really tuneless singing. I don't blame them. I'm not the finest vocalist in the world myself, but he makes me sound like Maria Callas. Anyway, that's his sign, Cabaret Against the Hate Speech. It's not hate speech to say what a woman is, Tom, what you're on about. And, you know, he's just sitting there. I think he thinks he makes a point, but it's a bit pointless if you ask me. Right, and this is a song about cis people. It's Kate Nash's song. It's ridiculous. Cis women. Right, I'm gonna get this from the other side, but you know how they often chant, "There's many, many more of us than you," and here he is completely out on his own. It is quite funny. Hey Tom, how does it feel that this time you can't shout, "There's many, many more of us than you"? Because you like to do that, don't you?
Now you're just Billy No Mates. Oh, look who we've got here. It's Joanna Cherry. How are you doing?
It's never possible to not be on film and you're around. I'm very well, thanks. I just need to go and speak to somebody about an issue that's arisen and then I'll come back and see you later.
Excellent. And what a beautiful day, yeah?
Wonderful.
Okay. There's Susan talking to the press. I got a feeling this is going to be a good day. Oh, that's Ash Reagan. Oh, I want to grab her. I never moaned with her. But she's talking to the police. Oh.
Right, shuffle.
Oh, the music stopped now. Hurrah. Oh no, he's just picking another song. Hey, play Man, I Feel Like a Woman. Or some Barbara Streisand.
Listen up.
Oh, he's just got the Kate Nash song on repeat now. And he's turning up the volume again. Right, he's not here to debate, he's not here to discuss, he's only here to disrupt. That's all he's doing.
I feel no threat from any trans person that might be in the toilets. I've never felt threatened by a trans person.
Yeah, well, Kate Nash, what if you're in the toilet with Isla Bryson or Katie Dolotowski?
Between October 2023 and September 2023.
I mean, that's such a stupid lyric. I've never had a problem with trans women in toilets. Yeah, just because you've never had a problem doesn't mean nobody else has. It's so ignorant. Look at this crowd. Look at this crowd. This is fantastic. Right, here's another very big bold banner. Communist Party, Edinburgh, brunch. Brunch? Branch. Not food. Brunch is good as well. Right, so I'm going to ask some questions. Good morning.
Morning.
Right, so this is the Communist Party supporting the Supreme Court ruling?
That's right, absolutely. We're fully behind the Supreme Court ruling. I've really welcomed it and put out a statement supporting it as well from both the Communist Party and the Young Communist League.
Right, I'm a bit confused about what communism is these days. There was a talk that I went to in London by the Socialist Workers' Party, who claimed to be Marxist communists, and they were all like, oh, this ruling is terrible, and, you know, they didn't have any detail about why it was bad. It was all just oppression, we have to stand together, solidarity. So, how are they different from you?
Well, that's for them to answer. I mean, you can only be a communist if you believe in Marxism. We're a Marxist-Leninist party, and Marx's great contribution to philosophy was dialectical materialism. You can't be a communist without believing in material reality. And the material reality, biological sex is a material reality. And so the Supreme Court couldn't have come to any different kind of a conclusion about what the law says, because biological sex is sex.
Yes, because the little I understand about communism is it's about a material analysis of society. So how can you not acknowledge the most fundamental material side of life?
Well, I think what people don't understand is that there's a difference between sex and gender. I mean, sex is a material reality, a biological sex. Gender is a social construct. It's, about social expectations of how men and women should behave. And as a Communist Party, we're actually gender abolitionists. I mean, we want to liberate women and men from the oppression that's caused to them by the ideas around gender. And it's also central to the gay liberation as well, because gender is an oppressive idea in terms of how men and women should behave and what their sexuality should be.
This is why I was so grateful for the Supreme Court ruling, and I'll be going to different Pride events to ask people about their feelings about the Supreme Court ruling. They have very strong feelings about it, but none of them know the detail. none of them know how fundamental this is to gay rights. And it just baffles me every time. And then when I ask them, surely it's important to acknowledge homosexuality in law, and they're like, they wince because they don't know how to answer the question without thinking they're going to be found out and branded a bigot.
Well, I think it's one of the really frustrating things about the way the Supreme Court ruling has been completely misrepresented in a very organised way by trans rights organisations is that the importance of it for sexual orientation has been completely lost. I mean, that was at the centre of the case. So the right for same-sex attracted people to be recognised as attracted people of their own same biological sex. And also...
Sorry, here's someone coming up with a sign. I'll grab them in a sec. Right, thank you so much for that. And have a good day. Hiya. It's a bit noisy. Do you mind if we go there and ask you some questions? I'll sort of stick this in your face, if you don't mind, but that's just to make sure I get your voice. So, trans kids don't harm cis kids. For Women's Scotland harms trans kids and cis kids, right. So obviously, you're not here to support this event.
No, these women do not represent women. They do not represent Scotland. They do not represent Edinburgh. They do not represent fairness or equality.
Okay. So, no, I see that you're getting very upset. That's all right. Take a moment.
She was very upset, so I didn't think it was right to continue filming, so turned the camera and the mic off, and I just let her say whatever she wanted to say. And I asked, do you have a child that identifies as trans? Yes, she does. So I can imagine that she's very emotionally invested in that. She's probably been told that her child will, unalive themselves, and she's scared. So she thinks that For Women's Scotland are the bad guys. I thought she was kind of calming down a little bit, but then an older man joined her, and they were on their way to join Tom, by the way. So this older man joins in, and he's talking about For Women's Scotland being really well funded by right-wing groups and this and that, the usual. And I said, well, hold on a second. There's a lot of people here to support them. They're from all over the political spectrum. And, obviously it helped that J.K. Rowling helped support them financially. But the rest of the money is just people scraping 5 or 10 or 25 quid together. Like me. I gave him 25 quid, and for me that's a lot of money. And then this woman just goes, you're funding the hate against my child. And this man just goes, you're a fool. You're a bigot. So I said to this woman, I wish you well. I wish your child well. I don't want any harm to come to them. But obviously we're on very different pages here, and I don't think we're gonna get anything more out of this conversation. But this old man just kept going at me, and he's in my face. So I said, what, do you want to say this on camera? And he's like, yeah. So here he is. I guess he's trying to prove a point that it's not only young people that go crazy over gender.
Right. Here's a gentleman who says that I'm an unscientific bigot for saying that homosexuality is based on sex, and that I'm happy with the Supreme Court ruling that protects my rights on the basis of sex. Why do you say that?
Because trans rights do not conflict with gay rights or women's rights.
They absolutely conflict. Because
would you allow me to actually speak if you have me on camera?
Go for it.
Gender and sexual orientation are separate things. They are orthogonal. You can be gay and cis, you can be gay and trans, you can be straight and cis, you can be straight and trans. There is no conflict between them. They are simply orthogonal axes.
There absolutely is, because you would have me believe that a lesbian can have a penis and that a female person can be a male homosexual, and that completely destroys the meaning of homosexuality.
It doesn't.
Absolutely it does. How can someone born female be a male homosexual? How?
You won't let me speak, will you?
Well, speak then and tell me why.
Define what they are themselves. You can define homosexual how you like. You can say whether or not you think a lesbian has a penis. Can have a penis. I have no opinion.
Lesbians don't have penises. You've been on this earth longer than me. You know what a man and a woman is, and you know that a lesbian is a female homosexual, not a man who claims to be a woman and who might have a certificate. Certificate No, I've had enough of you, sir. I've absolutely had enough of you. You're homophobic.
You won't listen to the arguments because
I have. You have no argument because you would have me believe that a female person can be a male homosexual and that a male person can be a female homosexual. How?
By self-identification.
And that just because you identify as something doesn't make you that something. Okay? There's more to how somebody identifies. There's more to reality than how somebody identifies. No. Homosexual man is not a feeling in a woman's head, and homosexual woman is not a feeling in a man's head. You're an absolute, utter homophobe.
I am not a homophobe.
Yes, you are, because you deny what a homosexual is. You can only affirm a woman as a gay man by denying one of what a man and a woman is and one what a homosexual is. Why do you do that?
It's not a matter of one person defining how another person...
What is a homosexual?
A homosexual is somebody
who is same-sex attracted. Thank you very much.
Is attracted to somebody who they perceive to be of the same gender.
It's not just about perception, it's about fact. It's about fact of our sexed human bodies. So I'm sorry, sir. I strongly disagree. I wish you a good day, but I think you're absolutely full of shit.
And so are you. Absolutely to the brim. If they gave you an enema, they could bury you in a matchbox.
Oh, ha. What, for knowing what a homosexual is? If they gave me an enema, they could bury me in a matchbox. Hello, gorgeous. What does it say? I can't say. Hang on. The battle outside, raging, will soon shake the windows and rattle your walls. Wow.
Women won't wait.
Gorgeous. Well, and here's Tom, and he's really cranked up the volume again. How he gets away with it, I don't know. Right, here's somebody else with the trend sign. There's a few more people that have shown up here now. Okay, and this has now begun. Speeches are underway. Right.
Oh, sorry.
Hiya. Right. It's just talking to an old man who's just completely denying what homosexuality is and calling me a bigot and a fool, and I'm like, what?
Can I thank you for bringing the sunshine to Edinburgh, but can I get you to do one thing first?
Right.
I'm finding it hard to hear you over that noise. Can you make some noise so people in that building hear you too?
That speaker was Jackie Baillie, the Deputy Leader of Scottish Labour and the spokesperson for Health and Social Care. The music was just so loud, so I'm sorry I can't share that with you here. But there were 2 points that she made. One was that nobody was above the law, and so the Scottish government had to abide by the Supreme Court ruling without delay. The second one was that if she were to become Health Secretary, she would absolutely not attack NHS staff, and she would make sure that the NHS would look after women. Because the music was so loud, I thought, okay, I need to get to the front to capture the speeches better. So I made my way to the front, and hopefully you can hear this next one.
Tell me, is that really working? What a privilege it is to be standing here amongst the women that stood up against all the crap that we got in this place. We're now standing up for more nonsense. 20 weeks since the Supreme Court decision. In 20 weeks you could run 5 Tour de France's. A chicken could lay 700 eggs. Honestly, it's just a joke. They're putting politics over the rule of law. The Scottish Conservatives believe in the rule of law, and they should be sorting out the guidelines that they're giving to the local authorities. They should be sorting out and removing the trans guidance that's in schools. They should be taking this really seriously. They should be sorting out the issues of the toilets in schools and public places. We've still got women in men's wards who are being raped and abused in Scottish hospitals. It's not being taken seriously. The rule of the law must be obeyed, and 4 Women Scotland are absolutely right to take this to challenge again. They have tried time and time again, and the Scottish Conservatives have been 100% for the rights and protections of women and young girls. And we will continue to do that, people, until the government listen and John Swinney recognises that sex is biological sex in the Equality Act, and that he gives local authorities the right guidance to ensure that none of this nonsense continues and that women and girls' rights are protected. I'm so proud of each and every one of you. I'm so proud of my colleagues that have stood against the toxicity and the abuse that we received in that parliament, a parliament where we should be able to debate respectfully. The debate has not been respectful. We're still not there. We still need to be fighting, and we will continue to support you to fight for the rights of women and girls. Thank you very much. Rachael, is that one working now? Yeah, good.
Right, so I think she's Conservative, but just before we had a Labour person.
She's one of the MSPs for Glasgow, and she's, yeah. And you're going to talk about prisons, I believe.
If you don't mind, can you hear me? Yeah. Sisters and brothers, if you don't mind, I'd like to hope that you show your solidarity with Mothers Against Genocide over there, Free Palestine. Well, as you've heard, I'm proud to be standing on this platform with all of these women from all political parties who stood up against the odds, and for Women Scotland, who took this to the Supreme Court for all women and girls who need a future where they know that their privacy and their dignity is protected. I can never thank them enough for doing that. This Supreme Court judgment was about women's rights, nothing else. And the judgment was that sex is biological in the Equality Act, and that's what the Scottish Government should be implementing now, right now. What are they waiting for? As usual, hiding behind, oh, we're waiting on the guidance. Are you really? You caused all of this in the first place by your self-ID policy that did not have popular support in the population at large, and you forced it on people without any real discussion or thought. And the policy capture of public bodies is the SNP government to blame. Now, I've had my fights with the Scottish Prison Service and Police Scotland about them implementing these policies. And I, as Labour's Justice spokesperson, am clear that I will not stand for women serving their time in women's jails having been forced to serve alongside male-bodied criminals who have committed serious crimes against women. It is unbelievable and it is unforgivable. We've still work to do. I think we have made progress. I mean, I do a lot of work behind the scenes too. It's not acceptable in any court case for someone who identified after they have been arrested for a sexual offence to then be referred to in court in the gender they identify with, and for all the public bodies to go along with this, it is not acceptable. And you know that in the case of Bryson, the two victims were vulnerable victims. They should not have to sit through a court case where they have been offended and violated and listen to this. So we're clear that it's about women's rights, and the judge was also clear that it does not mean that trans people don't have rights and they should not be discriminated against, and all of us are clear about that. Thank you for all you're doing, but we need to keep the fight until we get the judgment properly implemented.
Thank you, Pauline. Next we have Tess White at the Scottish Conservatives.
We've got the first banner up as well that's got all the signatures on it from the
Who has sadly announced this week that she's not standing again. I know, bit more. Oh, we will miss you, but you know, let's hear from you now.
Hello everybody, thank you Susan. I'd just like to say, and I'm going to speak loudly, because no one will shut me up. No one. You can play your music as loud as you want. You will never, ever shut us up. You will never. You will never drown us out. While we've got a breath in our body, you will never drown us out and shut us up. So I would like to say thank you, and thank you for everybody who has made the effort. Morak, I can see you there. Thank you, Shireen. Thank you for everyone. Alan from Stonehaven. Thank you for everybody who has made the effort to come today to support the wonderful four women, Trina, Marion and Susan. We owe you. We owe you our lives. We owe you our security, and not just our physical safety, but our psychological safety. Because this cult ideology must be stopped. It is causing us harm. It is causing the women in the prisons harm. They thought that we wouldn't bother about women in prisons. We care about women in prisons, and we will not be duped. We are not buttoned up the back. We are not fools, and we will continue on and on. And my final word after thanks, and I'd also like to say, don't forget the lesbians, Scottish lesbians. Lesbians have rights as well, and we will not be silenced. And on my closing, I would like to say, don't forget next May. Do not support any candidate who supports self-ID. Make sure that each of us and our families and our friends know who supports the women and who supports women's rights. And those, ask them at the ballot box and before, and the manifestos, read it, take an interest, because they will not get our ex and your ex if they do not respect our sex.
Thank you, Tess. Now we hoped we have an SNP speaker, but I haven't managed to locate them. So, sorry. So Pam gets to go. Pam Gosal from Glasgow and the Scottish Conservative.
Thank you. It's fantastic to be out here, and what a noise we're making. It's very clear that women can't wait. And I want you all to shout that so John Swinney and his Scottish government can hear that. It's clear. I was there with For Women Scotland and there with a lot of other groups. The Supreme Court judgment was clear. It's all to do with biological sex, and women will and we certainly won't wish. I'm hoping John Swinney can hear this and the Scottish Government. From day one, I know what it's been like. I know from those ethnic minorities out there as well. I know from all the women out there that are crying to me. I certainly didn't know I was coming into Parliament to fight for our sheer existence as women. It's absolutely shocking in 2025 that we have to fight for what a woman is, what a girl is, what our single-sex spaces are, what they are, what our services are. We're not safe out there, and it's so important that we all come together to be that one voice today. We will stand shoulder to shoulder and raise our voices today to make sure that Scottish Government listen, that women will not wish and women will not wait. Thank you so much for coming out today. Thank you.
Well done. Thank you. I'd like to thank all of the politicians who came out today, not just the ones who spoke. I hope some of you got the chance to tell them how important this is, how much we really, really want the Scottish Government to just obey the law. It's the law. It's not rocket science. So, we're now moving on to the next set of speakers. First up, it's a lady who needs no introduction, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's the magnificent Tracy Edwards, the absolute heroine of the Baillie, who has been such a wonderful voice for women in sport, along with many of her and many of the other women, sportswomen who've spoken out on this issue. And we are so grateful that she came up today to do this. Thank you, Tracy.
The women who wouldn't wish. The women who won't wait. Please forgive me for having notes. Sailed around the world 3 times, absolutely no problem at all. Speaking in front of all you lot, absolutely bloody terrified. Okay, so first of all, apologies from Sharon Davis, who desperately wanted to be here today, but she's in court today with Graham, supporting him. And even Sharon can't be in 2 places at once. So, my name's Tracy Edwards, as you know, but some of you may know me from skippering Maiden, the first all-female crew to ever sail around the world. Some of you may know me from standing up and saying that awful sentence, a man can't be a woman. I hope you'll forgive a Sassenach for standing here today, speaking in front of the Scottish Parliament, but my mother's side of the family is Scottish. My grandmother was a fifer. She grew up in Blackburn and she trained to be a nurse in Dundee. And I can actually hear her turning in her grave as the Scottish Parliament, the British Government, the Welsh Senate and the National Assembly for Northern Ireland stand by while women's rights are systematically ripped away from us. My grandmother wasn't a suffragette. She wouldn't have called herself a suffragette. My mother wouldn't have called herself a women's libber. for every single thing they did, everything they fought, everything they stood up for, gave me the opportunity to do all the things that I've done in my life. I didn't for one moment think that I would have to go back and redo all the stuff that they did, but here we are. Today it is 142 days since the Supreme Court ruling in favour for women Scotland that the terms man, woman and sex in the Equality Act 2010 refer to biological sex. This ruling didn't change the law, it clarified the law. And I, probably like you, sorry, I'm so on bit about breath, shouting above all that noise. I, like you, thought that our politicians would understand the law, I thought they would obey the law, and I thought they would implement the law. But no! There are still men in women's prisons. Sorry. Nurses' changing rooms, women's toilets. The women's Scotland, sorry. The women's Scotland is forced to take further legal action against the Scottish Government for policies in schools and prisons that are inconsistent with this UK's shouting is making me feel a bit dizzy. I might have to wrap up sooner than I wanted to. I'm feeling a bit lightheaded. Sorry. See if I can keep going a little bit. Shouting really makes me feel dizzy. I support these warrior women because I have a Prime Minister who thinks that women can have a penis. I have a Foreign Minister who thinks that men can grow a cervix. I have a Secretary of State for Culture, Media and Sport who thinks it's okay to wear a Protect the Dolls t-shirt and thinks that it's okay not to fight for women's rights in sport. I think that is literally her job. Women are told to sit down, shut up, be kind, be quiet, be compliant, don't complain, don't speak out, don't fight. Words that would be instantly recognisable by the suffragettes of 100 years ago.
I'm going to finish on behalf of Tracy. Someone asked me the other day if I had nothing better to do with my time. And the answer is yes. Yes, I do have something better to do with my time. Raising funds for girls' education, improving justice for women in domestic abuse, and supporting my sisters who stand up for the rights of women every single day. But we are stuck here doing this because our politicians are like rabbits in the headlines. Do they honestly think that we will shut up and go away if they string it out long enough? That would be an absolute no. Ignore us? If so, they cannot be more wrong. We're in the midst of a worldwide war on women, and we will not go gentle into that good night. We will protest, and we will take legal action again and again and again until our politicians enforce the law. Can we all have a big massive thank you?
By saying thank you to For Women Scotland. Thank you to all of us for shouting and screaming and fighting. We will never, never, ever stop until our politicians recognise women's God-given rights that we have fought for
The next speaker is Michelle Thomson, an MSP from the SNP, and this shows something very important, that they had speakers at this event from Scottish Labour, Scottish Conservatives and the SNP. This is now becoming much more of a cross-party issue and hopefully less polarised. Now, I went on the move to see what the TRAs were up to, so I've only got a little snippet of her speech, but I've spliced in some footage that somebody else put up on Twitter, so sorry about that, but here it is.
I have to confess some shame here. I'm here as an SNP MSP and I've been right here from the start. I am ashamed that my government has so far failed to accede to the win in the Supreme Court. I'm also ashamed that too many politicians, even although knowing that they were on the wrong side of the law and on the wrong side of people's rights, were too afraid of wrong thing and speaking up. And we've seen quite the conversion over recent months. And I would say, and I have said publicly, we need humility from politicians, a multitude of politicians, to recognise that they were not listening and that they were wrong, but it's not too late to put it right.
Okay, a few more of his friends have turned up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's not that many of them. Maybe 12. Right. The dancing turfs. 14 of them. Right.
Women and trans people. So let's start labelling things correctly, shall we?
Don't let an unselected joker dictate the law.
You are not defending or protecting me. You say a cigar is a cigar, but a cigar cannot be compared to a human being, can it, you fucking idiot?
Right. Here's Jenny from Scottish Lesbians. I want to get her on.
Good morning. It's so good to see so many women and men supporters here. Thank you so much for making the effort to come out today. And thank you to 4 Women Scotland for giving me the opportunity to speak. I'm very, very glad to be here to be a voice for lesbians. Scottish Lesbians was proud to be one of the lesbian interveners in the Supreme Court in support of 4 Women Scotland. And we are wholeheartedly in support of their current legal action to try and quash this ridiculous self-ID based guidance that is, I mean, why is it still in our schools and in our prisons? It's just a disgrace. And our group intervened at the Supreme Court alongside the Lesbian Project and LGB Alliance because we wanted to shine a spotlight on the plight of lesbians under self-ID and gender ideology more generally. Lesbian spaces are gone. They're full of men. Lesbian dating apps are full of men. Lesbians have to organise in secret behind closed doors to keep the men out. De facto self-ID has meant our sexual orientation being redefined to include men. The Supreme Court ruling changed that. Well, it should have done. But for daring to campaign for lesbian rights, we've been smeared. We've been called far right, we've been called bigots, patriarchy supporters, anti-progress. Well, we don't believe that pretending men can be lesbians really counts as progress. And the Supreme Court agrees with us. We've also been told that we're rolling in right-wing cash. Now, I could talk to you all about how we do what we do from our own resources, in our own time, round about our jobs, that there is no funding for groups like ours or For Women Scotland. But we all know that those shadowy right-wing funding slurs are just that, they're lies, they're slurs. It's the updated version of no debate. It's meant to shut us down. Well, does it look like it's working? Meanwhile, you can imagine how we feel about the fact that over the last 8 years, more than £20 million of our money has been given to organisations by the Scottish Government that support self-ID. Five of those organisations, including the Equality Network, are ostensibly for LGBTQIA+ people. Those 5 organisations have been given millions by the Scottish Government to redefine our sexuality, to work against the interests of LGBT people that they claim to represent. The Supreme Court ruling should be changing that. It's very clear. Lesbians are women and only women. Men, even men with a GRC, can never be women. This is not difficult. And as our wonderful barristers Karen Monaghan and Beth Grossman put in our intervention, lesbians are not attracted to certificates. And we didn't expect it to get better overnight. We knew there would be pushback. There's a lot of men out there who don't like the word no. But since April, organisations that claim to represent lesbians, those organisations that get all the cash, have told us that we should be unhappy with the ruling that we helped For Women Scotland get. They're actively campaigning against it. They're actively campaigning against the EHRC Code of Practice. And they're doing it in our name. Well, they're continuing to force team lesbians with men, and they're using women who look like me to argue that men should be allowed into single-sex spaces. Well, we say no, not in our name. John Swinney says he accepts the Supreme Court ruling, so why is his government continuing to fund organisations that are actively working to undermine it? Why are he and his government continuing to force team the LGB with the TQ+? And you can tell somebody doesn't like that I'm saying this, can't you? So we're calling, along with everybody here today, for John Swinney and his government to get on with it, stop stonewalling and implement the ruling.
Quite a couple of weeks of it. Some of you may have heard there was some controversy about a book which was too dangerous for the Edinburgh Book Festival and the National Library of Scotland. So here to talk about this dangerous book is one of the very, very dangerous editors, Lucy Hunty-Blackburn.
Also short as well as dangerous. Good morning! So other women today have been talking about getting our stuff back. They mean single-sex spaces, services, in the wake of For Women Scotland's history-making Supreme Court victory. So prisons where women are sure they're not locked up with men, hospital wards,
schools, changing rooms, specialist services, social groups, all of these matter. But I'm going to talk about something I would like us to get back that's different. Our public institutions. Like the one right behind me. I would like a parliament where no member is able simply to say they will not meet a constituent or even respond to a letter because they disagree with them on this subject. Yet behind me, the presiding officer in this building has given a green light to that behaviour. Also in this building, I want a public petitions committee that does not take over 4 years to decide what to do when it's asked to make Police Scotland record the sex of rapists accurately. And still has not invited Police Scotland to come in and answer questions face to face about its extraordinary and elusive policies here. I'd like our government machinery back. I've spoken to an MSP who wrote to the government with the wrong view on sex and had her letter ignored. That's not acceptable. I want a civil service which deals on even terms with everyone, that doesn't misrepresent to women's groups what it's been told by the Equality and Human Rights Commission, and isn't in an unhealthily close relationship with third sector lobbyists. We can talk about NHS 5. maybe not. Not just its treatment of Sandy Peggy, but its behaviour in relation to the court case, freedom of information requests in the media, and even in the courtroom itself. I don't want third sector fund bodies that are funded almost entirely by government, that lobby for the law to be ignored, as we saw them doing at Edinburgh City Council just this week. In our schools that my child used, go away, just go away. For the people in charge of those bodies, and I don't want the people in charge of those bodies to feel able to smear those who disagree with the government that funds them, and for the government to sit on its hands and say it's nothing to do with us. I want the Nolan principles to mean something in public life. I want managers who are on the side of those of their staff, and there are many of them, who come to work to serve the public, not the ones who treat their job as an excuse to do personal activism on the public payroll. At the most basic level, I want public institutions to behave as though they exist to serve their citizens. I want to say something particularly about our cultural sector, which is not a world I ever expected to find myself in, and particularly the events of this summer. They've kindly sent a representative today to continue their good work of making women very hard to hear. It's a man, obviously. I want publicly supported arts venues that don't think it's normal to reassure their staff that they can keep them safe from the Deputy First Minister. I want a publicly supported book festival whose programme does not ignore one side of the most politically significant issue of the last few years, whose director does not feel entitled on national radio to say that the best-selling book that I edited with Susan Galgetti, she's over here somewhere, The Women Who Wouldn't Wish, and Jenny Lindsay's fantastic Hounded are not sufficiently respectful for her taste. That she's going to set tests about whether those of us who checked notes have been vindicated by the Supreme Court are reparatory enough before we are allowed on her platforms. But who will platform people whose behaviour is very far from reparatory if they're on the right side of the argument as far as the festival's concerned? And the other institution I will mention finally, of course, is the National Library of Scotland. I still want to travel in hope. Seriously, it's been a bruising experience to live through the removal of the women who had wished from the library's centenary exhibition after the staff, the LGBT staff network, so-called, complained about it, saying it would cause them severe harm, and they would mobilise, and this is truly shocking, they would mobilise their contacts elsewhere too, implicitly make their own managers' lives hell. But it's an unfinished story. It's an unfinished story. We have not yet had a response to our letter asking for our book to be reinstated in the exhibition. We have been assured a formal response will come. This morning I urge senior management to come to the right decision and to put our book back on display in the exhibition where it won its rightful place. There is still time to prove normality is possible and to put things right here. The exhibition has months to run still. Meanwhile, on behalf of Susan and me, I want to say how grateful we are for the support that we've had, not only from our wonderful group of authors, many of whom have been on this platform already today, but also from so many of our readers, and some of you, I guess, will be in the crowd. The support that you've given us has made a difficult book, and it has been difficult. It's been much more upsetting than I ever would have expected, even after all these years, to find ourselves here. It's made that month much, much easier to live through. So to all our readers who've had our backs over the last month, thank you so much. And the Streisand effect we discovered really does exist. Sales of the book spiked so hard that at one point the women who wouldn't wished, and this is, a year and a half after publication, this doesn't happen, the women who wouldn't wished with no other publicity was almost in the 100 top sellers of all books on Amazon. The only reason it didn't make it a bit higher was that Amazon sold out. It had to go to a reprint. It's now available again, I'm just letting you know. And those extra sales mean more people will read it. And it means we will have more proceeds, Susan and I, to donate to help those women who are among the most silenced elsewhere in the world. Because even while we're fighting here to get back what is ours, we are part of a bigger fight, and we will never forget that. So Susan and I will be at the back. If anyone wants a book signing, we'll be at that later. But meanwhile, women won't wait.
Before I wrap things up, I've just sprung this on her, but I know that everybody here will want to hear from her. It's the one near me, the fantabulous Joanna Cherry!
Thank you very much for such a lovely introduction. I'm here today because I'm an adult human female. Because I'm a lesbian who loves other women. And because I'm a woman who won't wait. This rally today is about three things. It's about democracy, it's about human rights, and it's about the rule of law. Democracy, because we know that the majority of people in Scotland oppose the policy of self-identification that was sneaked out by politicians in the building behind us and their little helpers. It's about human rights, because the rights of women, who make up more than half our population, are at the heart of this struggle. And it's also about the rights of lesbian, gay and bisexual people who are attracted to people of the same sex, not people of the same gender identity. But most importantly, as many of the signs say here today, it's about the rule of law in our beloved country of Scotland. National Party MP at Westminster, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom broke the law by unlawfully proroguing Parliament, and I, along with other backbenchers, took him to the highest court in the land to have that prorogation ruled unlawful. At the time, Nicola Sturgeon, John Swinney and other people in the Scottish Government were happy to bask in the reflected glory of the campaign that I led and to talk about the rule of law. Well, now it's their turn. On this occasion, the Supreme Court, whose voice they were happy to listen to on the prorogation, whose voice they were happy to listen to when it said this place sadly didn't have the power to hold another independence referendum. Now it's their turn to listen to the Supreme Court for a third time on the great victory won by For Women Scot and also won by Scottish Lesbians, LGBT Alliance and Lesbian Project and Sex Matters earlier this year. It's time for John Swinney to stop talking about the rule of law. It's time for deeds, not words. I can tell you, as a lawyer, there is absolutely no need for the Scottish Government to wait for the Equality and Human Rights Commission's guidelines before implementing the Supreme Court judgment. The Scottish, but they don't need to listen to me because they have very expensive lawyers at their fingertips. We know that because they've spent so much money fighting us on this. But they've lost now. And the thing is not even their money, it's taxpayers' money, it's our money, yes, our money. Anyway, it's time for them to use a little bit more of our money to pay their expensive lawyers, to explain to them what the Supreme Court judgment means and to implement it without further delay. Before I finish speaking, I want to say two things. The second thing is a big thank you to For Women Scot, but the first thing is this. Large parts of this very well attended demonstration outside our national parliament have today been drowned out by a man playing loud music, a man silencing the voices of women, not just women like me, but grassroots women who don't have my voice because of the privileged position that I held previously as a Member of Parliament. It is the duty of Police Scotland to... It is the duty of the police in Scotland and across the United Kingdom to facilitate peaceful protest and freedom of speech. When I chaired the Joint Committee on Human Rights at Westminster, we produced a report about this, and you can read it on our website, and it says very clearly that the police have a positive duty to facilitate the right to protest and freedom of speech. So the police should have told that man to move his racket, and he should have not turned out. I don't have a sound system, but you can bet your bottom dollar if I turned up at a trans activist rally with a loud sound system, I would be moved on. So come on, Police Scotland, don't make women second-class citizens. Give us the rights that you give to others. Finally, I just want to say an enormous thank you to For Women Scotland in particular, who've organised this rally today. I know there are other people involved, but I'm singling out For Women Scotland because they have fought a long and brave battle against the might of the state. I'm not ashamed to tell you that when they started out, I thought they would lose. I like to think I've got good legal judgment, but on this occasion, I'm pleased to have been proved wrong. And, I sat through the 2 days of the Supreme Court hearing and I've read the judgment, and I think it's a crystal clear judgment. but we would never have got that clarity if the women of For Women Scotland hadn't had the guts and the determination to take this fight all the way. So a huge thank you to them from me, from the bottom of my heart, and also a massive thank you to all of you, women and men, who supported them through that struggle. Thank you.
Before I say what we're going to do next, because we are doing things next, behind us, FMQs will just have started. So we would like you to send a message to them and tell them that women won't wait. Ready? Women won't wait! 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 Obey the law, John! 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 Thank you! So, he has got until tomorrow to decide if he is a man of the law or if he is going to follow the advice of the government-funded rogue organisations in Scotland, which are telling them that the law doesn't matter and that they can do what they damn well want. And if they then decide to obey the law, we will be going back to court. On Monday, we will lay the summons at the court, and it's pretty straightforward. We just want them to quash the unlawful guidance.
Surprise, surprise, the Scottish Government did not quash the guidance, and so For Women Scotland have now launched fresh legal action. The Scottish Government apparently will argue in court that it didn't withdraw the guidance because, oh, it's all so complicated.
So, I want to thank you all so much for all the support, all the energy, and I echo everything Joanna said about the rule of law, about how that place needs to step up and learn about democracy, learn about the law, and actually so do our opponents, because I think some of them have shown themselves today, certainly a gentleman over there, that they don't like democracy, but they are petulant, aggressive, and bullying, and that's all they've got. Loud music, no substance, no facts. The law is on our side, and they need to get with the programme. I think we may be having a sing-song. I'm not going to ask Marion to lead it. Look at her face. I don't know if David's there. Oh, because as it was, as somebody said the other day, what is it about For Women Scotland? They've got their official photographer and they've got their own piper.
Because you're worth it.
Where's Lucy? Because she wrote the words. Yeah.
I always started at the wrong pitch. With love, side by side, we will defend our rights. We stand together, side by side. We'll not give up this fight. Our women's rights are
had to get that out, didn't you?
Yes. People need to know.
Oh my God, that was just an amazing day. Great speakers, great atmosphere, lots of passion. These guys are still here. Good song, good song. So, they didn't stop our event. They didn't stop the women from speaking. And like Susan said, what have they got? Shitty songs. Not this one. This one's an excellent song. Illusion, it sounds like a whisper. Okay, so people are now moving on. Going for food, going for drinks. Right, this lady, and it's her birthday today, so everybody, happy birthday! Thank you. You just came up to me and you said that you've been fighting this for 50 years.
Yes, I'm 75 today, and in my 20s, I would call myself a second wave feminist. I took my then employer to an industrial tribunal under the fairly new Sex Discrimination Act, and I won. And that is almost 50 years ago. And I can't believe that I'm still here today fighting to get rights that 50 years ago we thought the war was won. Well, some of us did. And here we still are today. I think women actually are nowadays, in a certain sense, even worse off than they were 50 years ago. Because nowadays we get reviled, we get spat at, we get shouted at, you know, we get assaulted, we have men coming into our toilets, we have men just trying to completely obliterate any rights that we have, almost rights as a human being, never mind just rights as a woman. 50 years ago, at least the men were polite, you know, we didn't have the exhibitionism of a fetish in public.
And there's a lot more of them now.
Oh yes, there's a lot more of them. And it's quite frightening, especially as you get older, to realise that if you needed same-sex care as an older person, you would possibly be in bother with that. At the very least, it's the power imbalance would upset you, because if you were old and ill and you were asking for a woman to do intimate care with you, and they're sending you, you know, some bloke in stilettos and fishnets, and you're expected, and you're in a vulnerable position because it's very difficult. If you say no, you think you might be victimised. So that's what I've got to look forward to. Well, we hope not. We hope not.
Yeah.
But
and as you said, you know, for you it goes back 50 years. Now Janice Raymond, she published The Transsexual Empire in 1979, I think.
Yes.
Is that something that you paid attention to at the time?
Only a little bit, because at that, I mean, I suppose I was quite lucky because I went to university 1967 in Glasgow, and as far as I'm concerned, the social circles I moved in were very liberal. You know, we had gay friends, nobody was bothered about it at all. And we knew about transsexuals. I don't think we were very polite about them. We knew about them, but we thought there were only, you know, a small handful of men that were like that. And they were probably, we thought of them as deluded. They were deluded. And you kind of humoured them. I never came across one, but that was my social circle. That was really their attitude to it. And I think, yes, to be tolerant of people who feel that they must try and turn themselves into the opposite sex, because anybody who feels that, in my opinion, has got a problem. And of course you want to be tolerant and kind and helpful to people with problems, but not at the expense of women and children. You know, I believe there's no such thing as a trans child. Behind every trans child, there's a parent who thinks, oh, you know, I am so kind, I am so in with the in crowd, because it is a bit of a fashion. And in years to come, the number of children growing up is just, I don't know how many people have watched Jazz Jennings' story, but you know, that poor lad's in his early 20s now, and sometimes when you watch the videos, you can almost see behind his eyes, you can see that he knows something is not quite right.
Well, I wonder what's worse, for him to realise what's kind of be done to him,
or for him to live the rest of his life as the way he is going about it now. I had a question. Right. So, what was it like for you April 16th when the ruling was handed down?
Oh, it was just fantastic. It really was fantastic. It was fantastic because, first of all, we have a small group of, they won't mind me saying this, ordinary Scottish women who had gone to the trouble and expense and the intellectual kind of work that they put in to get a case to the Supreme Court. And it's true what the Supreme Court said, it's not a victory, it's not a win. It's simply a re-establishment of something that fundamentally we all know. And I thought, oh well, by this time next week, things will be changing. I really thought within 2 or 3 weeks we would be watching on the news articles about the men being booted out of the women's prisons. I really did think that, along with a lot of other people. But I do agree with the speaker whose name I didn't catch, who said that the institutions are such a huge problem.
Lucy Hunter Blackburn.
That's her name, yes. And that's where it gets very frightening, when you realise that the institutions are just ignoring the law.
They're captured. They're completely captured. And I've been to a number of Pride events. London Pride, London Trans Pride, Brighton Pride, Manchester Pride, just to talk to people on the street. And most of them have very strong feelings about the ruling, but they know nothing about it. And I wonder if it's the same with these institutions. They've been captured for so long, they're used to thinking in a certain way. Yeah. It's going to take so much to undo the rot, I guess.
And when you think that children are being taught this rubbish when they're in nursery school, we have that generation. I mean, how are we going to untangle what's going on in the minds of 10-year-olds, 15-year-olds who are growing up, when you've got 50-year-old women, and I hate to say it because it's women, you know, the lanyard class, as people sometimes refer to them, and they've got another, 15, 20 years working to go. How are we going to root it all out? You know, how are we going to get rid of it? I was thinking, as I'm speaking to you, I'm saying how remarkable it is to me that 50 years on, I'm still having this kind of conversation. I really hope that in 50 years' time, there's not another couple of people standing outside Holyrood having a similar conversation. That's just too awful to contemplate.
And also 50 years ago, you're fighting for women's rights, but at least everybody then knew what a woman was.
Oh, exactly. Of course they did. Of course they did. It never crossed anybody's mind. It really never crossed anybody's mind.
Is there something that gives you hope?
Well, partly when you listen to the calibre of the speakers today and you talk to the people who have turned out for this event, many of them mothers, many of them in positions of influence, some of them grandmothers we have here as well. It does give you hope for the future, because you realise that these are people who are intelligent, they're thoughtful, they've looked at the issues, they've discussed the issues, and they know that they are right. They know that men are men, women are women, and there's no such thing as a trans child.
On that note, I think we should get you some birthday cake.
Yes, I think so too.
Thank you so much for talking to me.
You're welcome. It was lovely to meet you, Menno. Lovely.
Thank you.
Most people are now in the pub or somewhere stuffing their face, but look at this one. Scotland Women's Rights Network. No human being has ever changed sex. And isn't it interesting? There's still music in the background because Tom is still here with the sound system. But now it's quite a nice sort of boom, 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 respectable level. We can sort of bop along, you know. But when women speak, then the music gets really, really loud. How do you feel about that? That he just keeps doing that at all these women's events?
Oh, it's absolutely awful. I mean, we wouldn't do that to any trans rights protest. Yeah. We just would not do that. So I just feel really hard done by that, and the police don't act.
In fact, representation. It's an excellent representation of their position. Nothing to say but bullying, aggression, and trying to drown us out.
Yeah.
So in that sense, carry on, because he lets everybody see what they're about.
Yeah, show yourself. Yeah.
So lack of substance, that's fine. Yeah.
And sorry?
They have nothing to say, nothing positive and constructive. You can't engage in dialogue.
Well, I mean, I tried, but he just put his umbrella in my face. Now today was quite an event, wasn't it?
It was indeed, yes, it was excellent. But in a way, it's encouraging, but it's really, really disappointing that we still have to be back doing this. So many months on from an absolutely crystal clear Supreme Court judgment, and our Parliament in Holyrood is not acting in accordance with the Supreme Court judgment. And once again, I would say to John Swinney, it's just not good enough.
Yes, absolutely.
We won't wait. Act the law. Act in accordance with the law.
Right, there you go, John. That's loud and clear from the women of Scotland. And I think I'm going to wrap it up. So I'm going to say goodbye, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, Joe kind of thing. Thank you very much for watching. And of course, if you want to support my reporting, you can do so monthly. Here comes the griftery bit, right? Via Patreon. Because obviously a flight to Edinburgh costs money. And if you'd rather give a one-off donation, you can do that via PayPal. Or on here via Super Thanks. It's all very much appreciated, honestly, because that's what helps keep me doing all this stuff. And recording all this for posterity. So thank you very much, and I shall see you in the next one. Ciao. Oh, everybody, ciao. Woohoo! Women won't wish. Women won't wish. Women won't wish. Women won't wish. And Tom Harlow, you're a loser. Bye everyone. Thank you for the music, the songs we're singing. Oh, now he's picking up the courage. He's talking about me now. I'll stay back, but it'd be interesting. What else have you got to say, Tom? I went right up to you and to see if you wanted to have a chat, and you just put your umbrella in my face, but now you're walking away with your sound system and suddenly you've got the courage. If you've got something to say, just say it to my face. It's fine, Tom. I'm not going to do anything to you. He doesn't want to talk.
It's probably better that we just say no one wants to talk, so why don't we just leave it there.
And what's the reason why he was allowed to have a sound system on while all these women were doing some very important speeches?
So, sorry, as I've explained to your colleague, no worries. I've explained to your colleague, we have to work in accordance with the law of the Human Rights Act, of the right to hold an opinion and express that.
Sure.
And we also have to work within the accordance of Civic Government Scotland Act when it comes to the level of noise. But I do need to go back over there.
Okay, all right. That doesn't fill me with confidence.
It's interesting how they said about the level of noise there, because I was talking to one of the police liaison officers earlier, and they said that the level of noise didn't matter, and it could be infinite levels of noise. And I was like, even as loud as a bomb going off. And he said yes, and I was like, I highly doubt that. I asked him if they had any decibel meters or anything like that, and he said it's not anything they'd ever do, and that would maybe be a council issue. And supposedly the council has been involved today, and the council said it's a police issue. So I said, has anyone got a decibel meter? He said no, and I went back and forward. Here it comes again. So basically the whole... Sorry.
There he is.
So he gets a police escort.
Wow, is he so scared of the two of us? Well, he wants a police escort. Okay.
I'm just going to ask a question.
All right.
Sorry, excuse me. You mentioned sound levels in some piece of legislation. What was the piece of legislation that you mentioned about sound?
Section 54 of the Civic Government Scotland Act, there is no decibels in the legislation.
Okay, but what is the level? It says sound levels.
It's basically we take a professional judgment, taking into account the context of what we're dealing with. This is obviously a lawful protest. Any complaints that are made by the Parliament and complaints made by members of the public, obviously when it comes to individuals within the protest, that makes it a bit more challenging. But we look at individuals, and we did speak to Mothers Against Genocide, we spoke to other groups, and there was there was no complaints that were coming in there in relation to the noise. So it's really just a case of working.
Unfortunately, I heard there's been multiple.
Say it again?
I heard about multiple from the gas and.
Okay, well, I was made. I went over and I said I certainly didn't get that, I'm afraid. So that wasn't passed to me.
Okay, well, I've heard differently. So.
And Joanna Cherry, she was up when she was speaking. She was.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to leave it there, but
okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, it's interesting. So you've got an ex-MSP who is also a lawyer who understands this issue and human rights and the positive right for freedom of speech that should be allowed and enforced by the police. So the trans activists are there for one reason only. It's not even to give off opinions. No. It's to drown out other people so you can't hear their opinions. So I was trying to describe this to the police and they really weren't getting it on purpose, I believe. You know what I mean? It's auditory harassment, really, at really high levels. There's children's ears around. They said decibels don't have anything to do with it. It's not a nightclub. They're not the council. And he said that decibel levels have nothing to do with harm. And I was like, well, above 120 or whatever, sustained over like 90 or whatever it is, you get ear damage.
It harms your ears.
There's these charts. We all know about this. It can blow your eardrums eventually.
But also, I find it interesting, and this is the main thing, he says it was about a situational situation with protesters. Multiple disabled women. Now, bear in mind, you have women there who are in wheelchairs at a lower level, closer to the speaker, but also women who have mobility issues and have deafness and other issues. They were speaking to the police and saying that wasn't acceptable. Because it wasn't acceptable, you couldn't hear, not only could you not hear, the level was extraordinarily loud.
Yeah.
So the thing is, do the police not take into account the disability of those women when making that? Because clearly if situational judgment applies, if you have an individual standing, and let's be honest, that was a moated position, quite literally a moated position, and he can't get away, and then you have people in a very tight rally playing sound. Apparently it went up to 129 decibels according to people's Apple Watches.
Yeah, but everybody knows that it was loud.
Yeah.
It was loud to drown out these women.
Yeah.
And it's loud to make my recording like difficult because now I have to do some trickery when I edit the video to reduce the background noise.
That's what I was saying to the police officer, the police liaison officer. I told him part of the reason that they do this loud music is for copyright issues on YouTube. So, like how Shazam works, it's got the algorithms that identify patterns, and if it's copyrighted, it can take down a live stream, it can demonetize a video, it can get one completely removed, the whole audio can be silenced, or the whole channel can be damaged by it. So that's what it is, and repeating really clearly obvious tunes, it will flag it to the algorithms, and that's trying to inhibit our freedom of speech by getting our speech removed from other platforms, so we can't even express it.
Yes, it's not just here. It's not just suppressing
recording as well, because look at the songs that they picked, including that is going to get an algorithm scrape automatically as well, sometimes even just by the nature of an automatic filter will hear the word over and over and over again in assume abuse. So that's why it's also done, that's why that's also played. He admitted that in Glasgow. That's why he plays that.
There's one thing he said in Glasgow, I can't remember the exact words, but it was after the event, or the speeches were done, so this is Let Women Speak in Glasgow, what was it, last month or something?
Yeah.
And then Kelly J went up to the barricades, and he then went and did his usual Posey Parker, you can't hide, you've got Nazis on your side, and she's just like, I'm not hiding, I'm here. But he then said something like, oh, they'll be crying in bed at night about this. And I was like, oh, the do you think you are?
When I was there, the one thing that Tom Harlow said that was really interesting was he screamed at the elderly women. There was a woman in a wheelchair coming in, the older woman, he said, I really hope you waste more of your pension, you old. He screamed at them about pensions, wasting your pensions on shit merch, on Nazi merch. Tom Harlow was actually his most abusive at that Glasgow. That's the most abusive I've ever heard him.
Yeah.
Because usually he's a bit kind of florid and, you know, doing a bit more singing.
Yeah.
But this one with Kelly, and then he was also saying as well that Kelly's a racist and Islamophobe. She wants to kill the children in Palestine. It was just constant attack.
Well, just earlier, as he walked away with the sound system, and I was like, "Hey Tom, let's have a chat." You know, he got his sound system going again, and then we went blah blah blah, blah Mr. Mano, and it's like this growl, it's this distorted voice, and it's like.
But you notice he never speaks like that to any of the men or the police officers. But when it's a gay man or a woman, the growl comes out.
It's the growl,
and it was that growl that he did at Kelly as well when he was growling at Kelly.
It's such anger, like that.
Hatred. It's hatred.
Yeah.
It's utter hatred. It's misogyny distilled into a man who basically shouldn't be singing because, let's be honest, I think we're all entitled to have a human rights complaint about that. But
one of the men at that protest did actually swear at the police officer who was talking to the police liaison. Yeah. We chased up afterwards and said, "Are you going to press charges?"
Well,
and he said, "Well, we've given him a
out,
warning, and if he does it again, yeah."
When you were walking out,
but we saw it. And
who shouted at who?
One of the trans rights activists, one of the males, who was also seen walking through the water instead of walking around.
Yeah.
He told him to go himself or something like that, and the police officer gave him a talking to briefly, but didn't do anything about it. So it's just really interesting how they're saying that there was no complaints from anyone else. Which is not true.
Yeah, even when the speakers on the stage are complaining about it through a microphone, but he probably didn't hear that because of all the noise.
And even like Tracy Edwards, like she basically nearly fainted because she was struggling so hard to be heard, and there was such an intense situation. So yeah, women are having to shout, and the auditory harassment is very stressful as well. It's meant to make people scared. It's to make them silent and scared. It's not, and they're not articulating any opinion unless they want to have the opinion that they really like that tune by what's her face, Kate Nash.
But that's
which we heard like 20 times.
But in Glasgow, they tried to have speeches. So they tried to have speeches about Palestine, about other issues, and it didn't really work for them. So they went back to the shouting. But it's interesting they've regressed again today to going back to just pure music or shouting. But it was just today it was pure music. Because what they are essentially realising is when you've got a group of women standing there talking about issues, and these are genuinely serious issues, for example about rape shelters, standing there screaming abuse or playing especially when you have a speaker talking about a rape shelter, it's almost thick of it levels of media literacy and competency. So it's very interesting, but I think the big thing is, as awful as Harlow was today, because he is awful, we know he's awful, look at how few people turned up for him.
Well, this is it, and at one point I said, how does it feel to be on the other side? Because normally they go, there's many more of us than you, and now it's the other way around. So how does it feel, Tom? But anyways, I'm only on 5%, so I'm going to wrap up. So, come on, today was amazing, wasn't it?
Yes, it was great.
And there was many more of us than them.
Yeah.
What a crowd. And
they were on their little island.
Huh?
Noisy little island.
And I did say, like, because I went up to him when I first saw him on his own, and he hadn't started his music yet. I was like, "Oh, hi Tom, how are you? Do you want to have a chat?" And I was like, "Oh, here's Tom, Billy No Mates." All he's got is his misogyny and his sound system.
And his 3 tunes. It's 3 songs.
A number of SNPs raised the failure of the police in the Scottish Parliament.
I attended the For Women Scotland rally held outside the Parliament last week. It was a peaceful protest. Unfortunately, it was disrupted by a counter-protester who does not appear to have got permission to protest outside Holyrood like everyone else required to. This seems to be a breach of the Scottish Parliament's own rules, yet no action was taken against the protester. That women who were protesting to protect their rights in Scotland appear to have been treated differently to trans rights activists can give rise to perceptions of bias about the enforcement of these rules. That is an unacceptable situation for the Scottish Parliament to be in.
Instead of dealing with the problem, it looked like the police assembled a protective cordon around this individual to allow him to disrupt an organised rally that was trying to get a message across to this government. There was controlling and intimidating behaviour by one individual against those at the rally that was facilitated by the police. And Joanna Cherry KC has said that Police Scotland seemed unaware of their positive duty to facilitate the right to protest and speech. So can I ask the member on behalf of the corporate body, what further work and response does the corporate body expect from Police Scotland, and does she agree there should be a full statement from Chief Constable Joe Farrell, who has been silent on this issue, and at the very least there should be an apology from Police Scotland to For Women Scotland?
I was also a speaker outside at the For Women Scotland rally last week. I did approach the police who were on duty at the time and requested that the volume be reduced, so that everyone could be heard, and I was told that that was not going to be possible. At the same time, there were other protests there. Mothers for Palestine were seeking to read out the names of dead babies, a solemn and peaceful act. They were also being drowned out by the noise that was being created by the counter-protester. And both of these groups, mainly women, were subjected to very dangerous noise levels. We recorded them of being up to 116 decibels from one man with a sound system who was positioned directly between us all. So I think there are questions for police here, although I accept Claire Baker's not able to answer for them. Why did they permit that proximity? Why did they fail to act when safe limits were being breached? And what steps will the corporate body take with the police to ensure that women who are exercising their democratic rights are properly protected in the future?
Various organisations have also put in complaints.
Okay, I've only got 1% left, but I just want to capture this beautiful, gorgeous view here. It really is beautiful. And it's so nice and calm now. After all the noise and the whooping and the cheering and all the excitement, it's very calm. It's very zen. What's the Scottish for zen? It's very zen. Sorry. It's very chill. Gorgeous. Really signing off now. So we're going to get some food and some drink. Thanks for watching. Ciao.
Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to my PayPal and Patreon supporters. Because of you, I can make videos like this. Special shout out to my big spenders. Help Her Open, Mama Turv and the Turventines, Me Julie, The Lovely Mary, Julia, Dusty, Judels, Leffy, Dorothy, Wildfire, Esther, and Martha. Thank you.